Growing up in the cricket-mad city of Mumbai, the young Sachin Tendulkar was drawn to the game after watching India triumph in the 1983 World Cup.
Long back in 1983, I was just 10 years old and I saw India lifting the World Cup. That really inspired me a lot. And I used to bat 5 times a day in the nets. And that really helped me a lot, and I played lots and lots of practice matches which gave me match temperament, because however long you may practice, you need to go out there in the middle and score runs.
Tendulkar began his first-class career with a century at just 15 years of age. He went on to become the first batsman to make a century on debut in each of the 3 Indian domestic competitions.
One of the things that always struck me about Tendulkar, I played with him in the first 6-7 years of his career, was that whenever he got success, he became more careful about it. You know, he was never arrogant, never casual about his cricket.
Tendulkar made his Test debut at the age of 16 years and 205 days. He faced the challenge of playing Test cricket at such a young age with remarkable composure.
The day he got into the Indian team, he started batting in the nets. He looked so good that everybody knew that this fellow is going to go very, very far. When he was technically sound, he had very cool head on his shoulders. And it was, you know, like the way his body language and the way he behaved. It never looked as if he came into the Indian team for the first time.
Yeah, I was terribly nervous. I didn't know what was happening around me. I thought for a sec it was a school game going on, and I batted like as if one would bat in a school game, which is that particular moment I can never forget, because I felt this was the first and the last Test match of my career.
Struck away down the offside. That's a beautifully hit shot by Tendulkar.
Following his debut series against Pakistan, Tendulkar toured New Zealand in 1990 and made a lasting impression.
Pushing and running, and that will be his 50. Applause ringing out for Sachin Tendulkar, his 3rd half-century in Test cricket, the 16-year-old.
Can you imagine a 16-year-old kid scoring 80-odd in a Test match? I mean, you cannot. That's how good he was. That's how freaky Sachin Tendulkar was and still is.
And he plays a crunching shot square of the wicket on the offside. Might get cut off. No, it's not.
Sachin Tendulkar scored his maiden Test century at Old Trafford in 1990, becoming the 2nd youngest batsman to reach 3 figures in a Test match.
It was remarkable not only for the fact that he was still a teenager when he made 3 figures in a Test match for the first time, but it was also remarkable because it was a very significant innings in that it helped India save the Test match. Tendulkar showed a remarkable degree of maturity and played a really top-class innings.
One for the coaching manual. We're seeing this afternoon the emergence of one of the shining stars of the 90s for world cricket.
Against Australia the following summer, he made 2 more glorious hundreds. The first was at the SCG.
Yes, here it comes. It's great running. Well played. Sachin Tendulkar. His first 100 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. A magnificent knock in good time.
His first Test 100 in Australia came at the Sydney Cricket Ground in the first week of 1992, and I'll never forget it because it was one of those hundreds where you realise you were watching someone special. And it was the youngest. He was the youngest player to score a Test century in Australia, and he did it with a style that everyone who was there knew they were watching something special, and they were very lucky to be there.
To me, his defining shot was always when he stood up on the back foot and punched through cover. But when he hit the straight drive between mid-on, even sometimes just wide of behind the bowler and just wide of mid-on, that's when you realize how big that bat looked. And I think anyone who can present that size of bat to the bowler had to be technically just an outstanding player.
Tendulkar's 2nd century of the series was in Perth, on the fast and bouncy pitch at the Wacker.
The Australian tour actually confirmed the fact that this man was destined for greatness. And it was a tour that India failed miserably, and so did most of its batsmen. Tendulkar looked different, and he was just 17 years old, in his second year of international cricket. So the difference between him and the rest was clearly evident. And that innings at Perth, one of the bounciest pitches on that tour, and it's been one of the fastest. What was striking about the innings was how comfortably he got 100 in the first innings. And everybody who watched him got excited. I remember attending a couple of dinners in Australia, and people like Bill Lawry, Richie Benaud couldn't stop, gushing over the talent of Sachin Tendulkar. So it was sealed, signed and delivered that here's the next Indian batting great.
I think the knock I played in Australia on Perth, it was a 5th test match and I got 114. I think still that's the best innings I've played.
One of the first Indian batsmen who went out there and attacked fast bowlers and had some of the shots that a lot of Indian batsmen wouldn't have, the pull shots and the high bounce back foot drive and all that. So he was just somebody who looked like he was God's gift to cricket.